part of their identity, even if it's everyday kind of. It doesn't have anything to do with who they are. So what ends up happening is I've said to people before, I don't find my sexuality to be that important to me. I think it. I mean, I think it defines
I guess
interests of myself.
As being probably asexual, I guess I have the exact same thing. My parents are just sort of a, oh, okay.
I mean, sort of, because if you look, there's a lot of people who make asexual keystone to their identity, and especially
Yes.
you'll see like there's not enough ace representation, for example. You'll see that,
Yeah.
and I mean that's fine. I don't have any
Ow,
opposition to thinking that people need to be represented. I think anyone needs to be represented because everyone is different. But I've said to people before, oh well, I don't really consider it a big part of my identity. I don't even really tell people unless like they ask or like if it's deliberately part of conversation. Most people don't. I would imagine most people assume I'm straight. I don't know. Because to me, I don't bring it up very often. But I've said this to people and they've been like, "How can it not be? Not being straight. I mean that. I mean that's a big part of me." Like, but it's not. I mean, I don't even think about it most of the time. Died without permission.
I mean, like, it's kind of dark, but it's still funny.
Died without permission. And I've had people like outright get mad at me for saying it, even though I didn't tell them that they had to think that way. Because again, as I said, I think that for some people, especially if I guess a really good example is if you did have an upbringing where you were told that you couldn't be who you were and you just had to kind of lie about who you were until you were of age where you could
Right,
move
that
out.
sounds very unhealthy.
Yeah.
Having to lie about your own, who you are.
Yeah, and so I can understand how you can find it being part of your identity as being completely reasonable. I don't think it's stupid, for example. I do know people who... Because, like, another one is I've seen... My opinion on people is if they're not hurting someone, let them do whatever.
Live and let live.
And where that came into a big issue is because of the fact that I'm politically centrist, I don't really want to bind myself, especially to any political identity, because I feel like it's a little bit assumptive of too many things, and it puts you where you can be assumed about a lot. And so I don't really like associating with a political identity. I vote for who I vote for, and I think what I think.
I agree with that.
But I've had people get mad at me for... Let's see, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, so like I don't associate politics or gender identity. I can see how people can associate religion because it's more personal with their identity, although even that I feel like it can be unhealthy. It doesn't have to be, but it can be unhealthy. But yeah, so I've said that like I don't consider it a big part of me and I don't really associate it. But that's what I was gonna say. So I can understand how someone who's come from that and became either a social worker or an advocate or something where they wanted to make a change where things are more accepted, if they're not using, especially if they're not using violence to reach that point, I can understand and fully encourage being who you are. So if that is your identity and because of that you found it as an important part of expressing your, like, you need to heal really bad.
Yeah.
Expressing yourself, I don't see
You
anything
noticed that. I didn't.
wrong with it. And so what ends up happening is since I'm centrist, and I have friends all across the political spectrum, and I don't care what they think, although I've had plenty of arguments with people who I would have considered stronger friends and then sometimes lost friends over it. One of the dumbest things that I see on the more right-leaning, because I don't have any really staunch right or staunch left friends, I tend to get away from that because I feel like it makes too toxic of an atmosphere to talk with people, so I try to stick to people who at least are understanding of whatever other side there is. The people who were more right-leaning would usually make these jokes about there's only two genders.
Oh yeah,
And-
I've heard that one.
And I think that's just as stupid as the idea of insisting that everyone have to bow down to what you think. If you,
I just think,
don't-
what the hell does it matter?
That's exactly why I think it's so stupid. Because I'm like, if that person's identify, even if they do identify as some, like the big joke is the
Attack helicopter.
Yes.
Then, well, what does it matter?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't care.
It doesn't make any
because that
sense
has
to me,
no
but-
bearing on my life. I don't care if that's what they identify as. And so, I
As long as it's
don't.
not hurting people.
Yeah, so I don't get along with those people who make that claim either. But I also don't get along with the people who, the die cis scum crew, for example, the people who hate all cisgendered people and think they're all.
Well, that's
intending
that's
malice.
hypocrisy,
Yeah.
pretty much.
It absolutely is. And so I don't get along with either of those sides, and it's gotten me an argument, and it's got, I mean, in a way, it got me canceled once. And so I don't.
Fascination with that kind of thing.
Yeah, and so now that I've elaborated on this, that's all the farther into why I'm trying to use a neutral approach as I want to go. I don't want to get into how the religious associations can conflict
That's
with
a bit of
that.
a tangent.
I mean, it is. And so, but the reason I'm saying that is because if you get into associating the religion and the gender identity and all those things on top, it starts making everything too complicated. So using something really weird like this jeans and leather jacket example too far away.
I got hit by a missile bomb.
It is missile bomb. So using this jeans and leather jacket example gets rid of all of the potential overlaps that make it more difficult.
So this kid basically ran away from home because he felt estranged from his family.
And so what ends up happening is you have this happen. But what ends up happening in the end is they then move to the city and are then further entrenched in this urban identity and might make these decisions where, say, that the end game of this comment that I'm trying to make.
Oh.
Well, then.
Killer, you must be pretty strong to make it.
Oops.
Oh, were those your guys? I thought they were just trying to throw me a barbecue.
Style. Anyone have the guts to talk to me like that? CJ, here's someone who might actually be worth my time. Unlike you.
They're gonna kill me.
But I brought everything you asked for. Stealing things from your family farm doesn't prove your strength, boy. Though this wonderful sword you brought does put me in the mood to give you one last chance to prove your worth. What do you say? Kill that prisoner and prove that you aren't completely useless.
You said we'd be waiting outside the Commonwealth. These people aren't even a threat to us.
Prove to me that you can kill. It's him or you.
Oh God, what do I do? What do I do?
Well, I do that.
You don't have
Did I do it?
I don't want to do this.
Alright.
Oh, wait. Alright. Well, that's awkward. He's not hostile.
Well, let's.
Last chance.
place is just full of charm.
Chubb Cogsworth. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna look at my weapons real quick. This seems violent. That's not gonna be useful. That's
Your inside it will not do anything, I'm sure.
it'd be nice to have an actual grenade here, but
Here, grenade.
I don't think fire is going to work on these guys.
You might have to rely on your laser rifle thing that you're using. Because it tends to pack a pretty good punch.
This uses it's too close for a sniper
Mhm.
rifle. This is the wrong sniper rifle too. Too close for that one. All right, yeah. I guess I'm just gonna keep shooting the gun.
Anyway, so the end game of this and why it matters, and I can actually tie it into a song, which is a totally different thing. But so what ends up happening is, in the end, the person still cares for their family because they're their family, and in most situations, not all, there's plenty of situations where you'll have no love for someone, say if they were an abuser or whatever. They do care about their parents, but they didn't want to be around the people who told them that all they could wear was cotton and cotton or whatever, you know, the whatever the absurd situation was that this all came from. So they ran away and they moved to the city and they live in the city and they learned, you know, the way that they were taught was this urban only mindset, despite the fact that their family still lives outside of the town. So they end up becoming a big, you know, political advocate for the things that they learn in the city. And they do this big push for, in this case, coming back to, as I was saying, the thing that says all motor vehicles by the year 2025 must be fully electric. Again, it's an extreme that's unrealistic.
I think I'm gonna have to use a drug. Because this seems like a tough situation.
We'll have to see. I mean, it might be way easier than you're thinking, too.
Alright, I guess I should just attack then?
I don't know.
Because I think they're about to shoot him, probably.
They are, but I don't know. I mean, worst case scenario, won't you reload from that doorway?
It looked like a loading zone.
Then yeah, I would just reload and see what happens, because if you can get the jump, then
Oh, okay.
So yeah, take him out. So what ends up happening is they become this big advocate, and what ends up happening is, by doing that, they end up, say, 5 years down the line from this. They make this vote, and they go back to where they thought their home was, and no one's there. And they find out that the family that used to live here had to move state because they couldn't afford to live in this town and run a farm anymore because they couldn't afford the electric combine. And that's, again, example.
Yeah, those electric combines.
And so they end up being unable to figure out where their family went. And since their family... What are we... Well, that's an interesting one. Their family ends up...
Oh, God, this is strong!
The laser?
No, just that time manipulation, that time slow of the Psycho Jets.
Oh.
So it could take some strong cola.
But what ends up happening is they do still own a farm, again, out of town. And since they live out of town, they don't live in a place where they have good cell service, and they don't really have internet. And so this person who still cares for their parents can't talk to and doesn't know where their parents moved because they live out in the middle of nowhere. And so this whole family has kind of been destroyed by being convinced that one way is 100% wrong.
Oh, wait, you're still alive?
Good.
What are you shooting at?
And so the end game, as I was saying, of this
Oh,
conversation
woo,
you're in
woo, woo.
the end game of the conversation that I was trying to get to is the idea that by being convinced that by a whole society that one idea is undeniably right and it is the authoritative correct way is pretty destructive to
What am I tracking?
society.
Hey, I won!
Did you save him? Is he still alive? Talk to him.
Hey there.
Wait, I'm sorry. I messed up. I panicked.
You're lucky I have a soft spot for dumb animals.
I'm sorry. Look, I should probably try to go home and make amends. I know I've got no right to ask, but I bet if you're there to explain, things with my dad would go easier.
What?
If you bring your great-granddad's sword, he'll make it worth your while.
Open farm to smelter.
I'll wait for you by the overpass near the farm.
Wow, I'm better than I expected. You,
I'm
yeah.
really surprised, actually.
Even you.
You saved everybody,
just
although-
sit there.
Hey!
Hey there.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you were gonna die too.
I think everybody thought you were gonna die.
I'm glad J.K. was durable.
Yeah,
no one
he's
shot.
nudging. He spun around. And
You are very pushy.
But the crux of it is the idea of trying to accept that there's only one correct. So that must be the.
I like the new shish kebab design, but it's not mine yet. Then. Ah, damn it! I'm gonna get fat in just a second.
the whole idea of accepting that one ideology is correct, uncontested, makes it so that you'll have situations obviously far more planned out than a dork talking on the internet while we're playing Fallout 4 and seeing people's mohawks at super close range.
Very high detail.
But what I'm trying to say is that it's too absurd to just claim that one side is correct uncontested. And what you'll see is with a lot of people, because most people don't have the time or energy
To research
interest
all sides of everything.
to look at everything exactly. And I'm sure there's plenty of places where, even though I have formed what I would consider to be particularly informed mindsets, that I still am missing information.
That's close.
Because people don't have as much time and energy to
Oh,
try
what?
and
Oh, the similar stuff was here. Oops. Oh well. Money.
to try and understand all this stuff, you'll have a lot of people who, okay, well, my friend does this, or this celebrity does this, or whatever. And so I follow that mindset, and whatever, again, either just to fit in, or whatever. You have a lot of people who will make decisions that can affect a lot of things without taking a... Jeez, that's a lot of adjectives.
Oh, it's a fat guy.
Without understanding the consequences. And you'll see a lot of... Almost any time I see a slogan or a claim
Or it's a pipe rifle.
or some sort of insistence about what is the correct whatever, almost every time I hear it, there's some sort of major thing being ignored or misunderstood or not being thought of in the full consequence. And I guess in this example, it would have been the idea of requiring all farm workers to have electric vehicles when that's impossible, and maybe actually genuinely, not even just financially, but genuinely impossible given the situation. But in a more practical sense, what you'll end up happening is you'll see, and I've seen it happen a lot of times, where people will talk about their city voting. What'll happen is they'll say, "Oh, I hate all the people on the city commission," or whatever, and or I hate the mayor, or I hate the governor, and they always make stupid decisions, and this and that. And then you'll get to election time and either, well, I don't know any of these people, I'll just vote for the people I know, which are the same people that they said they didn't like. Or they'll vote based on, oh, well, my friend down the street says this is a good guy.
Yeah.
And they won't actually read what the policies are. And they'll vote for something, and what will end up happening is you'll have someone say, oh, well, we're going to get rid of the library because the library just costs too much, and then the neighborhood with all the kids who have to go to the library because the school doesn't have a study hall or whatever don't have that, and then they're like, wait, this is a really stupid decision. I don't understand why this would happen. Why would you let... And then they look at it, and all the people they voted for are the ones who made this decision, and there'll be like two people who that they specifically didn't vote for because they had the letter next to their name that they don't like.
Oh yeah, level. You can finally get the gravy thing.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
They have the letter next to their name that they don't like for whatever reason. Because they were told not to, usually. That we're saying specifically, they're going to do this thing, and you don't want to do that because it's going to hurt X, Y, and Z. And, I've seen it happen numerous times. I've seen it happen with people who I consider good friends, and that I warned them in a couple of cases. Hey, are you thinking about this consequence or this? And then they do it.
Are you
and
talking
then
about voting?
Yeah, I mean,
Alright.
well, sometimes there are plenty of examples where I've warned people of things and then they didn't pay attention, or what ended up happening was exactly what I said, and then whatever.
Ow.
But in this case, it's voting, where they'll talk to me and they'll say, yeah, the whatever this group says this, and it seems really stupid, and wow, aren't they just idiots or whatever?
But that's
Or
what they
not.
said they do.
Yeah, but they'll be like, "Wow, these guys are idiots," and they'll like explain to me, I'll be like, "Did you even try and
No,
you
no,
know,
don't die now. I'm not done with your quest.
I'll be like,
Oh.
"Did you even try and
Oh gosh, the whole
understand?"
family just beat this guy up. I'll help.
Done.
Ooh, nice shot.
He died the weird way. I'll be like, "Did you even like really pay attention to it, or did you just read the title?" Because what'll end up happening a lot of times is you'll see someone link an article and not read the article. I mean, like, for all my qualms with Twitter, one of the biggest things that they did recently was they made it so that if you're retweeting an article, they'll say, "Have you even read it first? Do you want to read it before you retweet this?" Which at least kind of is saying, hey, you know, it's dumb to just read headlines. Which is true. And, what'll end up happening, especially, as I said, this comes from having had conversations with someone specifically related to some city voting things. Where they were complaining about a decision based on the exact people they voted for, and complaining about the thing that they did, when the article that they were linking me talking about how bad this person was clearly by someone in that city who already had their opinion made and was writing a news piece that was really more of an editorial. And taking those assumptions,
I have that sword still. Cool.
And taking those assumptions into play, and not taking those assumptions into play, you're caring too much and you can't.
Apparently, my Kira said I want to trade a few things for no reason as they left. I didn't even try to say that, but dang it! Help! I'm fat.
Can we trade a few things?
Of course.
He had to stand up first before he could say that.
Oh wow, you have nothing. That's unfortunate. Give me your. Oh, he has bullets.
Yep.
And a potato.
Lost my train of thought here.
Sorry.
City voting. Oh, yeah, and so, but when they sent me the article, the part that I said was, I was like, this sounds a lot.
Oh no, you're a partner. What?
I was like, this seems a lot like a fluff piece, was how I framed it, more or less, saying it sounds pretty one-sided. And they said, nah, I don't know about all that. You know, whatever. This is the only news place they have to be fairly neutral, or, you know, I don't remember the whole thing. I just remember that I warned them that it seemed more like a fluff piece than an actual indictment or actual, like, neutral understanding, I guess.
I'm getting a little fat. What is the fat?
I think you can throw a food and be okay.
I'm gonna throw it into me.
But, so, I basically said that this didn't sound like all the information was here. And I also didn't know who the other people were. I just knew that they were condemning this one person. And reading it, it really didn't look like they had said anything or done anything, because they had never been on the commission before.
Oh well, they are losing their happiness.
Who is?
Good, not Good Springs. This isn't New Vegas.
The
Commonwealth place.
I wonder why.
The Sanctuary. That's
Yeah, I wonder why.
yeah, unless I misread that. No, that's going way down.
Going down 14. Oh, the defense is missing.
So what was
They
it?
must have gotten attacked. Because your defense
or
dropped.
maybe just something broke.
Yeah, maybe one of the people we sent away was a guard.
Or maybe the turret broke somehow.
That could be.
They're getting really pissed about it though.
But yeah,
Alright, what's going on?
I'd said I didn't really know anything about the other people to try and make a decision as to whether they were good or not.
Oh, I'm missing components? I don't have the circuitry? What?
On you right now.
We're in the workshop?
Oh, you can access the workshop from here?
Yeah, unless I'm carrying 137 gears. I have no circuitry. That's bad.
You might have something you can...
I ought to go
well, no,
shopping,
you don't. Yeah,
maybe. Oh,
you'll have to buy
is there
it.
circuitry in here? No.
But yeah, so what it really was they were making fun of this guy, and I was like, I don't know, I don't have enough information, this seems like a fluff piece to me, and they got kind of irritated with me or whatever. And then sure enough, later on, they were complaining about this same whole situation, and there was a news article where they were interviewing people, and one of the people that they said was the guy saying, I had warned that this might happen, or well, no, I was afraid this might happen. I don't know if they actually warned, but they said I was afraid this might happen. It's sad to see this. I don't want to go into details because I don't want to talk about people's situations. It's sad to see that this decision has been made. It's going to hurt a lot of people in the long run. And
What are
I don't know. I think there was a
resources?
petition.
Already shared them?
What? Your crafts?
Yeah. Do you need to build something for these trade loans?
I don't know. I think you have to talk to someone and make them a worker in that respect. I don't remember.
We're gonna have to get some more circuitry.
But I think what ended up happening in the end was there was some petition or like a local person or whatever helped fund the thing. And so it ended up okay in the end. But they were complaining about their city commission, and from what I understand, the election was that the same people got in. You'll see that a lot. It's not uncommon to hear that incumbents will retain their incumbency. It's very common.
It is.
And so you'll hear people in the end, I guess, what this really messy story that I probably screwed up a bunch of details to a while ago, like 4 years ago. Where I was trying to go with this is what ends up happening is people will complain about stuff and then they won't do anything about it. And so what'll happen is they'll be like, oh, the city commission's so stupid, oh, they're always doing this, and, you know, they keep increasing the taxes and charging us for stupid things and whatever, and then when they vote, they're like, well, the only names I know on this are the people I don't like, so I guess I'll vote for either all the people I don't know, which is also bad, or, well, I recognize these names.
Better the
so
devil
I might
you
as well-
know than the devil
yeah,
you don't.
and so they'll vote that way. And a lot of people won't read, you know, whatever, especially when it comes to, like, really local stuff. They'll read, like, what the president's doing, or what, you know, maybe their senators are doing. Not always. Usually it's the president. And part of that is, you'll see, so, like, there was a big joke under Obama, the thanks Obama, of people claiming all these things that Obama did. And usually they were either things that were a Senate decision, or
Look, this is a maxed out weapon, I guess.
or a representative's decision, or sometimes even like a governor or like a state thing where it wouldn't have had anything to do with federal government.
It's it, but I'm getting kind of tired.
That's fine. I'll let you go.
This was a very different stream. I don't dislike it, though I couldn't. Sorry, kind of based on what you're saying every now and then.
Oh no, I'm sure because I'm talking shit like constantly. I'm saying a lot of shit.
But no, it's different. I don't know. I like the atmosphere, even if this isn't something we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, like I said, I've been trying to stay as general as possible because I don't want to cause controversy. I usually want this to be a friendly.
I thought this was very interesting.
But yeah, so I'll at least finish my point here. Was so people say the thanks Obama joke because people start blaming Obama for stuff.
I mean, I like to, that one is something completely inane. But...
Well, so that's what would end up happening is people would make jokes because it would get so ridiculous. Because, like, I'd heard claims of, like, thanks Obama with relation to a decision made by a CEO of a company or of a state decision that the federal government has no decision over, or, like I said, a lot of times it would be over things that were made decisions in Congress or whatever. Like, one of them was...
Well, that's how politics always
was that no one in Congress on either side can ever agree with someone across the aisle, and this is Obama's fault. And I was like, but he's not any of those people.
He's all of them.
And so I always was like, yeah, you too. I was always like, I don't understand this line of logic makes no sense.
Oh wow, really?
And so I've always been entertained when people would make those jokes because I'd seen that. I'd seen people make just like weird calls, and I was like, that has nothing at all to do like you know, if Steve in accounting at 123 Business says, oh, well, we're gonna have to cut 5 people from the budget this year because we can't afford them. That's not Obama's fault.
Thanks, Obama.
Obama doesn't really make much decisions, or so whatever. And so, it's not the first time. It won't be the last time. But you'll have people like complain about stuff and not even know who's the person responsible for that decision. And so that's where that kind of muddy, messy line was going, is the idea that people don't pay attention, I guess. On that upbeat, happy note, I'm going to raid. My friend Hell Hero is on.
It's the only kind of type I hear raid in this kind of comics. The only things like server, like Discord server raids. I'm like, don't raid. It's bad.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Yeah,
Like,
no,
so-
this is sending viewers to another stream,
Right.
Because it's cool and like he's a really good guy. I wonder if is he playing a game today? Yes, he's doing Ghost of Tsushima, which means he might not have mic on. I don't know if he has a new mic yet. His PS5 wouldn't work with mic, but if he
I
does,
keep forgetting that PS5 is out.
yeah. But if he does, then say hi and talk with him. He's a cool guy. He is also does open mic nights sometimes. I don't know how all this stream stuff's working though, but yeah. So go say hi to him. Tell him I sent you. You know. With that said, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day and afternoon, tomorrow, wherever you are. Hope to see you again real soon, and take care.